So if you're a business owner, especially running a startup, you understand just how valuable your time is. You're not just sourcing for products, you're looking for ways to grow your business, and having to manually respond to the same customer questions over and over and over again can not only be mentally and physically exhausting, but it just distracts your focus on doing the things you need to push your business. And this is why customer support chatbots are actually one of the most demanded automations in 2025. They are helping businesses, they run 24/7, they are fast, they are efficient, and they maintain the same level of professionalism. And one of the main magic behind this is called RAG-powered AI agents. And don't worry if this is your very first time hearing of these concepts, because by the end of this video, you are not only going to know how exactly to build one, but you have a very rooted understanding of these concepts. Because let's be honest, the foundation of anything really matters.
Augmented generation. Now, while I do have a slide prepared on this already, you can see this here. I actually feel the best way to understand this is through a live illustration. So let's say a business owner, you just created a company in this very moment. You have documents that contains, information about your company, and then you go to ask ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT, this is my company. Let's say for instance, now what are the closing hours? Now, of course, ChatGPT has not been trained on that information concerning your company. And you can see this happening, every day when you use ChatGPT. For instance, now, you would agree with me that every second of every moment of every day, there are new and new information that pop up. But imagine having to always update ChatGPT every time something happens. That is going to be, I don't even know, out of this world, basically. So then that presents a challenge. But again, with every challenge comes an opportunity. So, okay, if we can't always, update ChatGPT every day, why don't we give it access to a content store, whereby although it doesn't have the pre-trained information, that pre-trained data, it doesn't have the pre-trained data already, but it can connect to that content store and get the information there. For instance, now, if you can even pause the video and go to ChatGPT and ask something about anything that happened recently, you're actually going to see the web search function. You will see it in your screen. That's ChatGPT telling you that, okay, I do not have answer to this prompt or this query within my pre-trained data, but I can access the web, in this case, an open source, for the answer. And then once I retrieve the answer, I'm going to generate a response for you. You know, this is essentially, the basis of retrieval augmented generation, where an AI agent has access to data stores that it uses to answer the user's query. Now, the first task I've just given is the web search function. But of course, when you're building RAG for business, you're not connecting to the web. You need the AI agent to have access to this particular document. That means we need to store documents in a vector database from database. In this instance, it's called a vector database. So what are vector databases and what do they represent? Now, so I have these vectorial representations. Now, these are gotten from NetHack. So NetHack is a very prominent figure in the automation space. So NetHack, shout out to me. Now, so I said we have vector database. And now, say vector database is actually a multi-dimensional space that contains vectors. Now, vectors are numbers. Now, these numbers represent words or chunk of words, that are stored within this space in a way that captures the meaning of those words. Don't worry if you don't understand. Let me just quickly break it down. So on my screen here, you can see banana, you can see apple. Now, just looking at this, you can have a feel of what is going on here. These are both fruits, and you can see the fruits are positioned together. On the other hand, here we have wolf, we have dog, we have cat, and you can see a query called kitten. Now, again, you can see that's just the first glance that all of these are animals. So whenever a query related to an animal pops up, the AI agent will come to this place where animals are being stored and usually get that information to use to answer the user's question. And that's essentially how the RAG pipeline works. So if I go to this other, and this I think explains it much better. So in our instance here, in our situation here, this is the document. Now, this document is what you want to actually save in your database. So what is the process that it goes through? Now, the first thing is going to be divided into chunks. And each of these chunks will represent one vector. So you have just one large document. The first process is going to be divided into chunks, where each of those chunks represents one vector. Now, but for them to be vectorized, they need to be converted into numbers. So what actually enables this chunk of words to be converted into numbers is the embedding model. These embedding models just convert all of these words into numbers, and those numbers are going to be stored. So for the purpose of it, you can see for the purpose of this video, you can say, okay, this chunk here is what's being stored as companies. Everything related about companies stored in this area here. This one here represents finances. Everything related to finances is being stored here. This chunk represents marketing, and everything related to marketing is being stored here. Such that if you have a question or you ask a question that is related to marketing, the AI agent just comes to this place here to look for that answer. This enables the agent to respond fast, and it makes retrieval very accurate. You can actually really see this with with the workflow in anything, where this is our vector store, like we explained earlier. This is the embedding models that is going to convert those words into numbers that are going to be eventually vectorized into the store. And this default data loader is what's going to present, the data that we're looking to actually vectorize. This is what is going to actually what chunk them. So it chunks them and then it loads it into this vector store. So this, embeddings convert into numbers. This default data loader, it chunks, that document that wants to actually vectorize into the store. So it chunks it, and then it loads it into the vector store. And of course, this is the vector store that where the database is going to be stored. If you are new to anything, this is where all the magic happens. This is called a canvas. So this is a blank canvas where you're connecting and doing everything. And I'm a very big proponent of always mapping your logic first. So in this instance now, we're trying to build a chatbot. A chatbot means there has to be a chat interface. So how do you want to interact with this bot, or and at the back of the bot is the AI agent that's going to be handling all of the retrieval, generating the response to the user. So I mean, since this is just a test sample, I can use a chat within my anything instance. But now, when it comes to building real world projects or real life projects, that I mean, what you are going to start with depends on what the client wants. Does the client want a web hosted chatbot? Does he want a Telegram bot, a Slack bot? Does he want a WhatsApp bot? But again, in this instance, it's because I'm trying to build a just for the purpose of this tutorial. I didn't really connect to an outside source. I can just do my chat within anything. So this is, you can click on your add first step here, and I need to start with a trigger. So each workflow always begins with a trigger. So here I just go and chat trigger, just search. You can see that's my chat trigger here, and then now I need to connect this chat trigger to my AI agent. So I just come in to search for the AI agent. Okay. Now, so when you open your AI agent, you're going to see the source for prompts. What this is saying is that, okay, so let's say you're chatting with ChatGPT. Now, the message you're typing, you're going to send to ChatGPT is your user message. In that instance, now the source is coming from you interacting with ChatGPT on your phone, on your laptop. You are the user, and you are basically the source for that message. Now, what the AI agent is trying to determine is that, okay, now where is user message going to come from? Is it coming from an external source, or is it coming from the chat trigger within anything? Now look at here, I said I'm connecting the chat trigger within anything. That means that this is the source for my user message, this chat trigger. But let's say the Telegram bot that I'm trying to do now. I have to first come and change the source for prompt here. I have to define it myself. That okay, this user message is going to come from this place, and then I'm going to pass that message to this field here, the user message. So basically that's what it means. But like I said, since we're using a chat trigger here, I'm not just going to use a connected chat trigger node, and all of this is just like this does by default. Now, what is very very important is your system message. The system message is what defines, or that's what the system prompt also. It's what defines how the agent is going to behave, how it's going to interact. How you can define the tone. Just how you can add the guardrails in terms of how it's meant to interact with users, what it is allowed or not allowed to do. You define all of that into the system message. I'll probably have done that video on prompt engineering, right? So but that's not the topic we're going into. That's not the topic we're going into the rather. So yeah, what is very very important is to actually, I spoke earlier about your AI agent leverages your LLMs. So I'm going to just come and search for, I use OpenAI here. So I search for my OpenAI GPT-4 mini. This is fine. This is just a basic and then so usually you need your AI agent needs to have a memory. If not, the agent is not going to be aware of context. Imagine you type, okay, let me just try this now. So let's make this very very practical. So if I do this, okay, so if I type, hi, I'm Damola. Okay, and then I ask it, so I just leave my name. Let me ask my name again. So since I've not connected a memory, you will see how it's going to respond now. Because I need to first refresh. So you can see, I just leave my name here, but it doesn't remember my name again because I've not connected the memory. So now I'm going to be seeing when I connect the memory, how the agent behaves. So let's connect the memory now. So usually, especially when you are doing testing yourself, and a simple memory works fine. But when you're building for productions like enterprise and all like that, it's usually best to use something that is much more is it just better a bit. Simple memory works best for you're building your own workflows and all like that. But we're building for a client that has a very large amount of database, it has a large amount of users. So you might use something like MongoDB. Now in this tutorial we are going to use MongoDB's vector database. So I think it's just right for us to use the chat memory. So I'm just going to click on the MongoDB's chat memory. Um, so of course you need to select, create a credential here. Now creating a credential just means that okay, this is anything in this place now. But anything needs to interact with an outside source, so I need to connect to that outside source so that I can, once I'm connected, I can then ask it, okay, give me this, or let me paste this here, or things like that. I have a brother. Now, since me and my brother have a special connection, there are some things I can ask my brother that probably a random person will not be able to ask. So that is just, the credential is you creating a connection with that external server that, okay, this is me in anything here. I'm trying to ask you for this. I'm trying to ask you to help me do this. I need to create that connection with you. So that is what creating a credential just means, basically means. Now, that we can do this is through the HTTP node. But anything, I already have some native nodes that can they handle all of the whole backend yourself. Once you just create this credential, every other thing just goes very smoothly. So we're going to do that in a moment. Let's just we've not given in since we've not created any MongoDB database yet. That means we don't have a database name. So for the meantime, let me just name it my database. But I think probably to first test the difference in when you use a memory and when you don't use a memory, let me just do this first. Okay. Now, so when you're doing a simple memory, you're going to see something like context window length. Now, the context window is just the amount of things that your AI agencies at a particular time. Say for instance, now I'm going to interact with you, and I've told you that okay, you can only remember 2 pages of a book. That's all you can remember, just 2 pages. And when I start to interact with you, and the first page fills up, you can still remember everything in that first page. I'm going to interact with you, the second page also fills up. And I'm going to interact with you. Now, once I go to the third page, it means that everything in that first page now, they're going to start to remove away from the memory because you just only have the capacity to remember just 2 pages of that book in a particular time. So everything that is more than that, you do not remember again. So if you're going to interact with you and entering the third page, it means that okay, whatever is in that first page, is going to start going to remove. And what is the second page, is going to move to the first page. If you're continuing my interaction and we're going to the fourth page, it also means that what was in the second page originally is going to have to move away. So that the third page then becomes the first page and then the fourth page becomes the second page. I don't know if you got that illustration. But the context window is just the amount of things that the AI can remember at a particular point in time. Now, a context window length of 5 means it can remember the last 5 conversations. So you can always increase it, let's say 10. So you can remember the last 10 conversations. So let's see how it's going to affect the agents now. So if I save, and let me just quickly refresh. So I say hi, and ask it what is my name. So you can see the difference now. Initially, when we are not connected the memory, it didn't remember my name. But now that I've connected a simple memory, the agent is able to recollect that, okay, I told it my name here. So you just need to come and check here and then you can tell me, oh, my name is Damola and I before that. So that's why you need a memory. So let's go ahead and connect MongoDB database now. This first. Then connect the memory back to MongoDB. And then, so we need to connect the two, which is our MongoDB's vector database. So you just come here and search for MongoDB. So you're going to choose, it's not the two you are choosing, you're going to choose the MongoDB Atlas Vector Store. So you select that. And then you have to make sure in the operation mode, make sure you are using the retrieve document as tool for an AI agent because basically that's what it's serving as. It's serving as a tool for our AI agent. So you have to make sure you are selecting this particular one. And then, sorry. So that will give it a description. What does this tool serve as? Okay, so we're going to connect our credential next now. And then so that we discussed if not connect our credential, that's why this place is showing like it's red and these other ones. So which is what we're going to do in a jiffy. But if we come out now, okay, so you can see we have something called embedding. So we need to select. So again, I use OpenAI's embeddings model. So one thing to note here, now if you're using, look at this is text embedding 3 small. Now text embedding 3 small produces a specific dimension. At least OpenAI's text embedding 3 small produces a specific dimension called it's the 1536 dimension. So you have to note that because if you use text embedding 3 small that produces dimensions in one that produces 1536 dimension, and your database you don't use that same dimension, you're going to have that disparity is going to cause a problem. So you have to always note this. And just in case you're going to use another particular model, you can just ask ChatGPT that, oh, I'm using this embedding model. What dimension should I use? I'm going to give you that. So the next step now is to go to MongoDB and then to go and create a credential and set this all up. Search for MongoDB. So this MongoDB is a vector database. It can serve as a vector database. So you're going to click on Get Started. So you see this, you can just sign up with Google. So actually, I already signed up before this, you know. But if you sign up, you first see like a form that you're going to see, or you can just skip that one. When you are signed in, you're going to see this interface. There's the paid version, but the good thing is that we also have the free version, which is used for learning and exploring. So we're going to choose the free, and then first thing is you want to name your cluster. So let's say you can give it vector, so vector cluster, okay, vector store, something like that, maybe vector store. And then so you want to choose the region that's closest to you. So since I'm in Nigeria, I'm going to choose Cape Town. That's my closest region. And then you click on create deployment. So you can either use the username and password that has been given to you, or you can create your new one. Okay, then you click on create database user and then choose the connection method. Therefore, here you have to choose drivers. So drivers, okay. So you want to copy this actually. You can click on copy and then click on done. You copy and save this somewhere. We're going to use it later when you want to connect to anything. So you click done. So let me just quickly paste that here so I don't lose it. Okay. And the next thing we want to go now is to go to network access. So on this panel here, you see network access, and then you click on add IP address. You allow access from anywhere, and then you click confirm. So after you are done, you go back to your clusters now. Go back to clusters. So you can see that your cluster has been created now. Then you click on browse collections. So click on browse collections. Okay. So let's just give it a minute. So if you see this, just click on the try new data explorer. Or if you don't see this, it's still the same thing. Just come and click here. Toggle this on to pop it up again. So try the new data explorer. So let's give it a minute again. So you can see connecting to vector store. Okay, so here you want to select your vector store. That's the one you just created. So select that, and then you click on create database. So let's say name this knowledge base. Then you can name this maybe rag data as a collection name. So it doesn't matter what name you give it. What's just most important that you can remember the name that you chose actually. So click on create database. All right. So since that has been done, let's go back to anything now. Okay, so now we're back at our anything canvas. So you click on create this create new credential, and then so the configuration type you just toggle this. Click on connection string. Now so the connection string has to initially copy. You're going to come and paste it here. But just in case you can't remember that, so let me just show you how to do that again. So if you go to so you just come back to clusters here, then click on connect, then you select drivers. So this is the connection string you're going to copy. So you just click on copy here, and then you go back here and just paste it here. Now you can see that here, that's okay. I'm coming. Let me see. Okay. So you can see it's asking for the database password, this place. So let's go and retrieve that from our MongoDB. So to do that, you just come here back to your MongoDB rather. You select database access, and then you click on edit. So you're selecting password, click on edit password, auto generate secure password, and just copy this. And then, so this is what you're coming to replace from this point to this point. So paste that. Then now it's asking for database name. So let's just be sure what our database name was again. It's actually the database name is this. So let me show you. So you go to your clusters, just in case you forgot how you get your database name. You go to clusters, you see this, and then click on browse collections. So I erroneously put vector store, but that's not actually the name. So just give it a minute to load. So you see it's connecting to the vector store now. Okay. So you can see this is our database name, knowledge base. So it needs to be very, very specific too. It's exactly how you write it here. That's how you have to put this in anything. It's not going to connect. Another thing, that I should mention is when you are creating your database and password, when you come here and ask you to click on edit password, and when you auto generate, you have to make sure you update the user. So take note of that. Once you've done the auto generate password and you copy it, you make sure you update the user here. You come here and you update the user. So let me just cancel this one. All right, so we'll go back to our anything now. And then, so this has been successfully created. Then let's come and select now. So we select the collection. Now, so for the vector index, then we're going to create this now. So let's go back to our MongoDB and create our vector index. So you come to your Atlas search. So on Atlas search, click on create search index. So index name, let's say default anything. Then click on this and select this. That the index should be created under this particular rack data. That's what I'm saying. So after, you want to actually make sure on the search type, you choose the vector search, not the Atlas search. So you have to make sure this is in vector search. So default name, we've done this. Then you don't have to worry about this actually. And then knowledge base, this is correct. And then you click on next. Now for the path, when you ask for the path, you can just use what we have here. So you can use this embedding. So the path, you can just use this embedding here, this name here. So you can just copy this, and then put the path embedding. Now for number of dimensions, I know I said, so that's going to be dependent on what you use here. I said that this embedding is OpenAI. This text embedding 3 small produces the 1536 dimension. So I have to go and use that exact dimension in this place here. If not, there's going to be some disparity that's going to cause problems. So you have to make sure, like I said, if you don't know what dimension it is, just go to ChatGPT and tell it, oh, this is the text embedding I'm using. What dimension should I use for this? Then for the similarity method, you choose cosine, and then you click next. So right now, it's just asking us to verify that everything we have is correct. So we are good. And then you create vector search index. So you can see our index name. Our index name is default anything. So you can even just copy that because these things are very, very specific. So default anything, and then you come back and put it in. I think that is in copy. Let me just write it default anything. But that should be the exact same name. So let me just be double sure. Default anything. Okay, so every other thing here looks good. So I set up here, and let me just check this. So for database name here is knowledge base. Yes. So you can see that's database name. So that's correct. This is it here. And then all right, so we're done with the first step. Now, second step is to now, be able to actually transfer the documents or the knowledge base into this vector. So we have a database now, but that database is currently empty. So we need to find a way now to, or we need to create a workflow that allows us to transfer information, whether it's a PDF document, whatever document you want to use, actually what make the AI agent know and answer questions on. We need to transfer it into this vector store. So that's the next workflow we're going to be building now. Like I said, the other half of the workflow now is now being able to transfer the information that we want into the vector database. So we're going to be using Google Drive for that. So a Google Drive trigger. We're using a Google Drive. We want the trigger. Now we're going to choose on changes involving a specific folder. So this is what our anything is going to be watching for. It's going to be watching this folder for if we add a new file. So we'll choose the particular folder you want. Okay. So let me I just need to reconnect. So this is just you granting anything permission to access your Google Drive. All right. So we're good to go. Then I'm going to search the particular folder I want. So I created a folder for this already. Okay. So this is the folder that our anything is going to be watching for. So anytime we add any new file into this folder, it's going to be triggered. This workflow is going to be triggered, and then that file is going to now be sent into our vector database. So what I'm going to do is to click on file created. So this file created is saying, okay, whenever there's a new file created in that folder, activate this workflow. So I'll choose file created. And now I need to go and ask. So to see this in real time, let me add a file into this. I'm sorry. Let me add a file into this our Google Drive. So okay. So file upload. Alright. Okay, so I added a new file now. Then I'll go to anything now. Let me delete this. I'll move this here. So fetch test event. So you can see now that our folder is back into anything. The file that we had from Google Drive, it has been sent into anything. So just to confirm, you can see the name is mainland house lease policy and this, which is what we have here. All right, so that is good. Now we need to download it into anything. So that's the next thing. Now we have it in anything, but we need to download it. So I'll go back to the same Google Drive, and then click on the action to download the file. So instead of from a list, I'll choose from ID. And the reason for this is because I want it to be dynamic, such that whatever file that I add into that Google Drive folder can be dynamically processed through this workflow. If I use a static value, let's say I just type in, let's say for instance now this is a file ID. Let's just say for purpose of this explanation, it means that whenever this workflow is executed, it is always this file that is going to be added, which I don't want, because I'm going to add different files over time into that folder. So I want the whatever file is added, I want the ID to be dynamically processed through the workflow. What I need to add is to add a dynamic expression. So I'll just show you what that means now. So I'll just come here and look for the file ID. Okay, so you can see the kind is the drive file. So this is what I'm looking for. Then this is the ID. So I just pass it into this. So now I have a dynamic expression, and this dynamic expression for this particular example represents this file ID. If I add a different file to be a different file ID, so this is what I want exactly, so that whatever new file I add is going to process that ID of that particular file instead of using the same ID for the same file every time. So I'm going to execute the step. So you can see now that our file has been processed into anything. So now the file is into our anything canvas here. So next thing is to now add it into our MongoDB vector store. So I search for Mongo again. And again, we are choosing the Atlas vector store. Then we're adding documents. Now, in this instance, we're adding documents to a vector store. Okay, so we choose the collection that we already created, which is this. And in my own instance now, the my vector index name was default anything. So you just put in your vector index name in this place, and I think we're good to go here. Now, I also need to add, an embedding model again. So this is the embeddings OpenAI. Okay, still the same text embedding three small. Now, so how this thing works is, first you might ask that, okay, what is this for? And why do I need a default data loader? Now, the main idea behind this is, now this workflow, is passing, you can see, passing one item from this node to this node, and it's passing another item from this node to this node. Now, this node, this Google Drive node is telling that, okay, I have this folder, and now it's telling this node that, please save this folder for me. That's the information that's being processed. But something still needs to hand over that folder to this node. Again, the communication that is occurring between this and this is that, okay, help me save this folder into MongoDB's vector store. But I still need something to load that folder. It's not just, I can't just come and meet you and say, okay, help me save money. You're going to ask me, okay, where's the money? So this is me right now. This node is me telling you, this is you. This is me telling you, help me save this file. But I cannot give you the file. I need something, a data loader that is going to give you that file that I want you to help me save. That is why we need, a default data loader. So I'm going to just choose default data loader. And the type of data in this instance is binary data. Binary data are non-text data. JSON are text and all like that, but non-text is binary. So in this instance, we're using the binary data. And every other thing here looks good. So we're going to continue from here. This is the file. So we're going to be checking in real time whether the agent is actually correct. So this is actually all mock data actually. It's not really data about the company. So the company is main analysis, this is the mission statement, vision. So I'll first be asking the mission statements. And then so one more thing, I actually renamed this tool so that because I let's give the agents the tool. So I renamed it to this and then added it to the AI agent. So if I just quickly show you the system prompt. So I use a very simple prompt too. Usually we want to start simple first and then start to gradually modify as needed. So let's first test with this prompt, and then this is the name I named it to. So one thing you have to make sure that this name is actually consistent. If it has to be this exact way, you can't use a capital letter K here and go name your tool with a small letter K. It's not going to work. So you have to actually note that. So I think we are good to go. So let's test the. Okay. So let's test this now. So we're asking for the mission statement first, and let's see. Okay, to provide unparalleled real estate services. So let's check if that is correct. To provide. All right, so that we are good. Let's see one more thing. Let's ask for this. So where are you located is one question, and this is the answer here. So let me ask that. Okay, so 123 Coastal Drive, view. Let's check that again. 123 Coastal Drive. So once again, we are good. And then okay, one more question. So how long has Milan been in business? Let me just copy this. So copy, and then so we can see it is hitting our knowledge base too, which is a very good sign. Okay, so Milan has been in business for over 50 years. I've been established in 2010. All right, so let's check again. So once again, we are good. So basically, our agent is retrieving the information we want it to. And this is why if you have any business in any particular thing, you frequently ask questions, company policies, the questions or the queries customers frequently ask you. You don't always having to manually type it every time and respond to customers. I mean, it's mentally exhausting and all. This is a very, very useful, very practical, very efficient, very just a very it's a better alternative basically. 24/7 response 24/7. It's and there's a way you can actually give it a tone. You want it, okay, this is how we speak in my company. Make sure you speak with the customers in this way. You can all customize this like that. So here we've come to the end of the video tutorial. Hope you found this useful. I hope you found it valuable. And if you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, And again, I build custom AI solutions just like this and many more others for businesses. So if you're a business owner, you're looking for how to integrate AI into your workflows, do not hesitate to reach me out. No hesitate to reach out to me. Basically, I'm definitely available to do a consultation with you. Till next time, take care.